Hello, everyone, and welcome to Techlore Talks 5. I am Henry from Techlore,
I'm Jonah from Techlore.
and today we're going to talk about the new Apple updates to continue our reputation of apparently being an Apple shilling channel. Uh,
Absolutely.
yep. I'm still going to always recommend an Apple iDevice over like any Android device to most people in my life. It's just generally going to be better for privacy and security for them, from what I've done and what I've researched.
But I'd recommend iOS over Android.
I especially liked their take on iOS as a whole. They explicitly state iOS is better than Android for a bare minimum. Like the worst app on iOS will always be better than the worst app on Android. I think that's almost a direct quote. That's almost a direct quote. Like it's almost like objective at this point. Like being on iOS is going to give you better third-party privacy and security than being on Android in almost every capacity.
But it does show that Apple is actually more private than a lot of their competitors, like Android, for example, and Netflix and Hulu and all that. So
Personally, I genuinely recommend an iPhone over a stock Android device like a Pixel nowadays. It's pretty clear. Like, I really do push the people in my real life towards iPhones if they're deciding between things. I just say iPhone or Pixel. But personally, I kind of want them more on iPhones than the Pixels, unless they're planning on doing custom ROM situations. If you're asking us, should I get an Android device or an iPhone device, my mind goes to, hey, if we just say you should get an Android device over an iPhone, that means someone can just get those like $20 Android devices that come pre-installed, which is garbage on them. So like that's kind of why it's easier to just be like, if we recommend people to an iPhone, we know exactly what they're all going to get. If you buy an Android device, it could be an Android device from Craigslist that's 3 years out of date from security updates. It could be something that comes pre-installed with Facebook that you can't get rid of. It could be something that has pretty much permanent Google Play services on it with no easy way to... Like, we just don't know. The Android world is so complicated and convoluted, and a lot of times it's easier to just say, get an iPhone.
we had the story about Apple and just some more affirmation, whatever word I'm looking for. Just more confirmation that, Apple is a slightly better choice in terms of privacy, but they're certainly not bulletproof.
With all of this said, and before you throw your iPhone out the window, I like to add perspective on this. It's been found in other research articles that even first-party data collection is collected less on iPhones than Android devices, so I wouldn't be pushing people away from iPhones for this reason alone, unless they're able to move to some kind of open source custom ROM or some other alternative, because frankly, Google is still a lot more invasive than Apple on an operating system level, and it comes with less aggressive stances towards third parties accessing your data. So I would argue out of the box, iPhone versus stock Android, it's still a downgrade if you move to an Android device.
Like all of their services have been pretty they haven't been bad for privacy or security, but they haven't been like exceptional in any way.
You serious?